everybody. Last time I talked to you about curriculum, specifically what to do if you have absolutely no idea what you want to do, what to do, no time to look at anything. I talked about what you can do on the very first day or for as many days as you need to. But today I want to talk a little bit more about curriculum choices because there is a ton of great stuff out there. So if you have a little bit more time, a little bit more energy, a little bit more resources to make some decisions, I just want to let you know what your options are. So, this might turn into a couple of videos because really this whole curriculum discussion can get long. We'll see how this goes. So, if you're talking about homeschooling, you have four basic options. The obvious one is the school at home online version, either through the school district, in which case I don't think you need to worry about all the paperwork stuff that I talked about. You're just basically doing what the school is telling you to do. But you're still in charge of managing your kids, so some of the stuff from these videos might still be helpful to you, I hope. And then there are online school programs that are separate from the school district. And I'm going to be honest, they're not neither of those would be my first choice. When you're doing an online school separate from the school district, I don't know of any that don't cost money. And for me, it's kind of the worst of both worlds, to be honest, because it's me trying to manage my kids' education and time and priorities and learning according to somebody else's schedule. On the other hand, some people really, really, really like it. If you are intimidated by homeschooling, if you do not want to be the one that is in charge of helping your kid if they don't know what to do, most online programs have support and people that can help explain things to your kids and all of that. Again, it's kind of the worst of both worlds for me personally, but it could be a great option for you. I honestly am not sure how expensive the homeschool online options are, just because I haven't really wanted to go that route myself. But if you really, really do not want to have to think about anything except making sure that your kid, physically sits at a computer and does some work sometime, that might be a really great option for you. And again, if you can financially make that happen. Okay, so number two, the next obvious thing is buying a full or an almost full curriculum. I don't know of any that aren't expensive, to be honest. I don't know of a full, like, this literally will teach your child everything they need to know, that wouldn't be multiple hundreds of dollars. However, if you have the money and you are stressed, that's a great option. I tell my kids all the time, and I'll probably say this again several times on Facebook, YouTube here. You either put in the time or the money, and it's okay to pick one of those two things. If you have some extra money, and there's no shame in using it. If you don't have a ton of money but you've got time, use that. Whatever you've got, use them both. If you have neither time nor money, like most people, I'm hoping that some resources that I throw out will at least be somewhat more helpful. But in talking about curriculum, a lot of what you're going to want to look at is how much actual time do I have versus how much money do I have. And the way the world works, the more money you have, the more you can pay to not have to put in as much time, which is kind of how it is. Okay, so you can buy a boxed curriculum where you get everything or almost everything to form a full curriculum for your child. Okay, so that's the second option. A third option, and this is what I personally do, is to be eclectic, which is to kind of pick and choose. So I have a math curriculum that works well for my kids, but it's not connected to any of their other work that they do. And honestly, I personally write a bunch of what they do because I enjoy that. That does not mean you have to do that. That's just because I really enjoy it. So a lot of what I use is just stuff that I personally have invented. So that's, again, it's called eclectic. Basically, you pick and choose. So what works best for you? What works best for this kid? Maybe your one child loves to read and would do great with a literature-based curriculum, and your other child, maybe absolutely hates it and needs something completely different. That's fine. If you have the time and resources to pull together and to research a couple different options, or to financially pull together a couple different options, that's great. The fourth option gets a really bad rap inside and outside of homeschooling circles. So the fourth option, I'm a little hesitant to even mention on here because, but the fourth option is called unschooling. And it's basically the idea that your children naturally want to learn, that humans naturally want to learn, and that you, as the teacher and parent, are responsible for helping them, guiding them, but not forcing them to learn any particular thing at any particular time. So this is kind of where the idea of homeschoolers just running around in the woods doing no actual schoolwork comes from. To be honest, that is my bent. So just, to get that out of the way right now, if I had unlimited patience and unlimited, resources, I would love to purely unschool. Um, in my personal opinion and experience, unschooling well actually takes a lot of time and energy because you have to actually be paying attention to what your kids are learning. And it's a lot harder if you can't just look at a piece of paper and say, okay, did they do that math correctly or did they not? So again, I actually lean towards unschooling a lot, but I also don't see it as a non-school option. I think to do it well, it takes a lot of investment, a lot of energy. However, again, that's fun for me. It's fun for me to look at my kid um, building blocks and saying, oh, well, they're clearly utilizing this skill and adding on to this other thing that they learned. I enjoy that. If you enjoy that kind of thing, if you enjoy making connections, if you enjoy, kind of people have lovely words like delight driven learning, and if you enjoy that kind of thing, it might be that you want to lean more unschooly. And again, you can be eclectic with things like this. So even at my most unschooly, we've usually had a math curriculum that we use because you can unschool math. But I mean, that, again, this gets into a whole more specific than I want to get for this video. But the bottom line is you can be unschooly with things like science and have a hard math curriculum, hard meaning set in stone, not difficult. Have a math curriculum that's a daily, you sit down at the table and do math. You do not have to do any one of these things in a pure way. Again, whatever works for you guys, whatever works for your family. So I don't know if it would be helpful for you guys if I throw out some examples of like some box curriculums. I'm not sure what would be most helpful for everybody, really. I think for today I'm just going to leave it right there at these are the 4 basic options. Again, it's really easy to get overwhelmed when you start to look into specifics, but once you start to kind of narrow things down, it gets a lot easier. Like if you're listening to me talk and I'm telling you, that online school, they will basically do everything for you. You just need to physically make sure your kid is at a computer, and you're like, yes, please give me that. Go do that. That's fantastic. If you're hearing me talk and I'm talking about unschooling and it makes you want to scream at me through the screen, don't read about unschooling. You don't want to do that, so that's fine. You don't have to worry about it. So narrow it down to the things that do sound interesting to you. So you can literally Google, unschooling if that is interesting to you. You can Google, boxed curriculum. You can kind of start poking around and see what you might be interested in. And I mean, feel free to leave a comment if it would be helpful. I'm happy to explore further any of those options for you. And in a little bit, I'm sure I'll do a video that describes a little more specifically what I personally do for school. But for now, those are your basic options. And again, if you get halfway through the school year and realize that you hate whatever you're doing, you can always change. If you start the school year using my, panic curriculum, and then halfway through, you've been able to put in a little bit more time, you figured out what you want, great, switch to that. You can always be flexible. Anyway, that's all for right now.